And 3, 2, 1. Rejoice, we're live. Yeah, good evening. Welcome to the 300th edition, 3-year anniversary, and I think it's very much a synergy to like all good journeys and things where we go back to where we started. So, well, is as it always is, man. It's my great honor and my great privilege to have you two on tonight. So before we go any further and we delve into the whole of the Demons, the release and stuff, how are you doing tonight, lads?
Fantastic, mate. Honestly, it's a privilege for us to be three years on from the Life of People, episode 300, mate. Like, it's a really good legacy you're building, man, and always humbled and honoured to chat to you.
No, man. Like I said, I think it's put it this way, Dan. I think you put it out very eruditely in a tweet you said the other day when you put Neil out, and you said, I think again, not word for word, but on the lines of you spent a long time putting your heart and your soul into this, now giving it away, and that's exactly the actual process, dude. That's what creativity is all about, and I think that's a perfect sort of step to go into, man. Now people will know my thoughts on Neil. I've kind of I had a conversation in the Life with people the other day where it was kind of, we sat there and we spoke a long time. We gave our thoughts about it. You know my thoughts about it.
The Paul.
Yes, my friend, and so people will know my thoughts, man. But just in short, man, you've set yourself a huge benchmark on that album, and I think you should be rightly proud. And with that, I don't want to say any more. But so let's really kind of start with this, man. I mean, this start from the very beginning. And obviously, I'm talking to you tonight. You literally just got back up to Yorkshire from your launch gig last night. So let's start with. I mean, talk us through last night, man. The experience, how it was.
Well, a rainy night, a very, very rainy night
through night
in the East End, but of London, and it's the first time for us to play in the capital.
We brought the rain.
We definitely brought the pain. We definitely brought the rain. Yeah, it was a very moving, beautiful experience, man. Like to grace the capital, it's something that we've held off from doing for quite a while. It felt sort of right to do it with this record. We're trying to, just step it up a gear and to branch out further afield. So we've got London down. We're going to do some dates in Scotland. It's all part of just the campaign for Nil, for the album, man. And like last night, yeah, it was marvelous to see some friendly faces. There's quite a lot of heads who are from our hometown who came down to show their love and support, and for that we are very, very grateful, and as well as turning some new heads onto our music. It was a cathartic experience. It was a good experience, and it's something that we're looking forward to doing again. We're going to be back down in London next month. This is we haven't announced this date yet, but we will be over the next couple of days, sort of thing. So yeah, it's good to put it out there now on Life as People. But yeah, we'll be back down in London, in Camden, for Oxjam, Camden, on the 28th of October. And it's a friend of ours who we sadly lost. His brother asked us to perform. He's involved in setting up Oxjam Camden. He's asked us to perform down there. So yeah, we're looking forward to getting back down there, man. And like, yeah, good vibe. It was a good vibe last night, and good fun. There was a few acts like supporting, which like it was sort of like it was like an open mic kind of thing. So a few acts got on bill quite late on, but like they were all very good. Our friend Jack, who helped us massively, he's in a band called Waco, a punk rock band from London. He helped us out big time. We stayed. He held us up for the evening, and he opened the night with a bit of spoken word poetry, which was really beautiful. And yeah, man, it was just a good night all round, man. Really good night all round.
Well, again, I mean, not only was it the launch, which is a fascinating thing. Let's start with that. So when you obviously have a launch gig, I mean, what does that actually technically mean, man? I mean, you obviously have how did that actually work, having a launch gig?
So the idea within the launch show is we
tying it around the release of the record, really.
Basically just tying it around the release. So we started the tour that we're doing for Neil in Leeds last Monday. So 9 days ago, I believe, and like you know, that was on the 18th of September. The album came out on the 22nd, so the launch gig was the show where the album was out and available, whereas the previous show, like, we had some copies of the record about, but you know you couldn't go online and find it anywhere until the 22nd. So the first gig we had booked after the release was the one in London, so that became the launch show, and we ended up tying it in quite late on in the day with Calm, and it's something that we
obviously flown the flag for.
We've flown the flag for Calm quite a lot, and it like just to tie it in with them to raise any funds and awareness. Like I say, it was a bit last minute, but it's a cause which is very like close to our hearts, and they I believe they have offices which are based in London and things like that. So, you know, it tied in quite nicely.
Well, I think just on that, and then I was gonna mention that as well, because I think, and obviously I've been contemplating this myself. Like I said this the other day. I think it's one of the weaknesses of many artists and many creative people is we don't take the time to step back and have a look about what we've created and what the steps we've left behind us at times, and we're very much involved in that moment and progressing forward. So obviously I've been taking, you know, deliberately around this time of year, because there's so much synergy going on. Obviously you mentioned about Life is People with the anniversary, but you're Seeing Demons, it's 6 years ago that you kind of formed all this, you know, your second album's out. There's a lot of these synergies going down the same path, and I mention all this because it's obviously some of the things that when you realize the path you've gone down, it's something that, you know, I know particularly you've been flying the flag for Calm and stuff like that, and I think what's amazing about when I was contemplating that today was like how much when we first had that conversation about male suicide, and you know when we first had the discussion about Calm and stuff like that, how much just over the last since that journey, last 2 years, 3 years particularly, or even last year particularly, how much it's, for want of, you know, however we may feel about it, but it's generally had more of a awareness, you know, in general, you know, consciousness of people around us. I mean, when we first talked about it, kind of talking about male suicide was kind of like literally shouting hello in the desert, and there seems to be just generally more of an awareness. And I've always said this is, you know, these are the small steps that having, you know, like you said when we first mentioned it, the putting your head above the parapet and talking about these things does actually down the path, as you've often said in one of your lyrics, you know, seeds sown will flower and thrive, and we're starting to see the actual in the consciousness of people around us that they are talking more about male suicide particularly, which I think again is only a great thing, and it's something that can be, if we've just played our little part in helping that in some way, I think that's something we should, again, that's been one of the rewards of being creative.
Absolutely, Tim. Like, yeah, I mean, like, I think every sort of like any sort of movement basically sort of starts with like the underground. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's something that's formed our sort of project essentially. But yeah, I mean,
yeah,
so,
well, we can't take like credit for such things. But
not all. But it is something that has
been very much enrooted in our project to begin with, and you know, and it's really it's nice to see. Similar like artists maybe with more of an audience or whatnot, but speaking about these things, and you know, like, yeah, it's good to see, man, because that's what we're flying the flag for essentially. And yeah, like you say, man, like this, I don't know, I guess over the last few years, man, like doing this project for us is like a cathartic thing, which you said before, but you know, I think, you know, there's been losses since and whatnot. We're putting this record out, and it's a
recurring theme, a broken
record in a way. So, all power to those who are kind of trying to shine a light on such things, but all power to those who are also, you know, dealing through their side of things in a creative way or in any productive sort of way, exercise or whatnot, you know.
So creativity, or whatever your thing is, if it's exercise, whatever sport, you know, creativity, and these things are creative. You know what I mean? Like sports are creative sort of outlet, really. Like, if you're channeling your energies, like that's into the realm of creativity, you know, you're making something positive, like, and I think everybody needs that, man. Like, I think everybody needs some sort of creative outlet, or they need to express themselves in some way, whether it's just talking to people, or like the art of conversation, you know what I mean, or making art, man, making something, trying to express your feelings. It's the sort of
we all have the void.
We all have the void, and yeah, the challenge is to, you know, to translate that void, them feelings, them spirits, whatever you would like to call it, to translate that into something which is created by yourself. It gives
it's transformation.
It's transformation. It gives you an insight, maybe a self-reflection. Maybe it gives you a bit of value. Whatever it gives, like whether you choose to share your creations, whether you sit at home and you write a diary to reflect on the day, or you write like or whatever. You take a picture of something which might not everyone might see as beautiful, but you see something beautiful in it. Whatever your what's the word, fucking forte, whatever your forte is, or whatever you're lured towards, whatever's your sort of path that you feel lured towards, just keep doing it, man, because that's what fills the void. And then like everybody gets the void, man, and like to fucking conquer it with, or to wrestle with it with creativity, I think is the key to sanity, and the key to fucking being a human being and dealing with whatever people are dealt with, man. Life's always a balance, and like we say about the duality of this world, there's equal balance to this good, man, and like life is all about the balance.
Exactly, my friend, and I think the above and beyond whatever one person maybe create and what it does for the individual as a person, I think just the acts of creating and other people witnessing that can happen is for want of a better word, as you kind of you allude to many times, it's a cure for for the depression, man. Because in this world where we're told that you know more and more and more that we're so worthless and all the rest of it. I mean, I'll be quite real here, man. I mean, which I always appreciate about our conversations and the whole point of this these life is people. But you know, I had a conversation and a written conversation with someone recently, and they just said to me, and again, it's a perfect example when they were talking about just generally. I don't want to go in depth here, but just saying that just listen to some of what you have done and what you do for life is people. It just changed. They come from really bad circumstances, but just change their viewpoint and save them from suicide because they thought, actually, wow, aren't humans amazing? Aren't we? Instead of this whole general background noise about how we're just a virus with shoes and we should just all be known, and it's that acts of seeing people create that really has always inspired people. That's what I've always thought, that we need more of the acts of inspiration is gained from watching people create in any form, whether, as you said quite rightly, Dan, whether it's shown or not. And that's the whole point, because and again, it's not all about it's the lessons that we can be learned from that. And this is one of the things I really want to tie to you, because again, it's one of those things I was just alluding to earlier on. When you get caught in a very creative moment like we all are, you just realise, and I again took a step back and thought, wow, it's 4 years since you put out since Dual Size, man. So obviously there's been a lot of work and a lot of time, and and I've sort of been kind of fortunate enough to sort of seen some of the development of the album and stuff like that. So it's taken from the sort of the basis of really. How did you on the album itself? And this is something I was talking with Paul the other day. You've obviously constructed the album, Neil, in a very much of to be listened to on an album. That's why you made a physical copy of it. Yeah. So, at what point did the formation of the track order and the track list start to sort of form in your mind? Because I know these tracks have been around with you for quite a while. Was this something that you had in mind, and how did the process of forming the track list come around?
Well, the album has been in the works for quite a while. I mean, we basically we drafted after dual sides, so late.
Like, they've probably chatted about
24
LP2 on here.
Yeah,
a
probably.
few times,
yeah, 2014. So we released dual sides, and around this, and after we put the album out, we had very rich creative bursts. So we did put together like a template for a second album, which didn't see the light of day. Now, from that process, and it's probably good, probably nurtured what has become Nil a lot better. We have put out several things in the meantime. As you know, we've done the Belly of the Hopeless EP and various singles, but the one song, which the oldest song on the record is The Dark Mountain. And that's a song which we did revisit, and we tweaked it. We put in the spoken word bit in the middle where it's like where Si says, "Do what makes your heart sing, do it to your heart
please."
Yeah, but so it's songs which have come to us over quite a sporadic period, essentially.
Track order wise,
in terms of track orders, Si was the one who was wrestling with that.
I spent a long time. It's funny because we're an album, so you've got like 10 songs or whatnot, perhaps more, and
we wanted to make it quite short though. We wanted to make it like
we did, but like what I was going to say is, you place these songs like puzzle pieces in terms of how one rolls on to the next one. And like we stated, and you quite rightly said, it's a piece that we want people to listen to as a complete piece, as an album, as a body of work. So yeah, just placing those pieces, man, it is a puzzle, it's Tetris, and I felt generally a theme in our work is to build up, like to build up in sound. So to start minimum and to build up to the maximum. And I feel like with the two bookends of the record, although I kind of see them as like a constant piece myself, like a Ouroboros, like a fucking like its tail, man. Start off with acoustic song, and set a vibe in terms of lyricism and feeling,
and to make people think as well, like who might think our sound to be a certain way. Like we're music heads, man. We listen to all sorts of stuff, and Si's phenomenally talented songwriter, in my opinion. I've listened to man write many songs on the guitar, and it's not technical shit, man. Just simple chords, songwriting. The man is a very good songwriter, and to incorporate a track which is written with so much heart and feeling, and the subject matter is something close to us. It felt right. It felt right for setting the tone for the album.
It certainly set a feeling, and then booking it off of Elegy of Nil. I think there's a lot. There's sparsity in that as well, but there's a lot going on towards the end, and it's that transition. Like I'm saying, like I feel like you need a bit of a roller coaster for a record. You need to feel the highs and lows, and hopefully at the end you're gonna fucking have your hands in the air.
Yeah, you feel something.
Well, I mean,
enjoy the ride. Yeah,
exactly, my friend. And I think one of the things that the reflections on duality, because I've been listening to them back to back, and just out of again, and it was fascinating too. And one of the things you can definitely there's many things that you can tell the development in you as a band and on many levels. But I think one of the generalizations that's been really obviously noticeable is you've developed in the tones. I mean, duality is all about that rawness of where you were caught in the time. And I mentioned this on the basis of what you just spoken about lyrics, because I think with the lyrics on this, particularly me, because I'm very much a person who, that's the first thing I'll do. I want to read the lyrics. I want to see what they've got to say, and it's just the benchmark again. I can't sort of sound. I can't sort of don't know how to say this without sort of sound like I'm blowing smoke up your ass, which I don't want to do. But the benchmark you've written on what you discuss. I mean, the topics the range you go from, and that is something that's, to me, and I'm happy to say this, that for someone on the stage of where you are in your progression as a band, to be the benchmark you've set with your second album and what you've done with Neil, and lyrically, you're touching upon things, and I discussed this many times in private with people, but you're discussing things that I think is you are literally on the very edge of the void. You're talking about stuff that I don't see any other bands any other way to talk about, and that's not to in any way denigrate you or blow smoke up your ass or make you feel better than it is. It's just it shows an incredible amount of time and effort that you've really developed from compared to Dual Sides, which is very much, I say, in this rawness. So my question I really wanted to open this up to was, I mean, to you, Si, I mean, I know you both, we've talked about this in private many times and in public many times about your writing process, but what would be the greatest lesson you think you've took from Dual Sides and incorporated into writing Neil, and what would you say that the greatest lesson you think you've learned from writing Neil in the writing process?
Okay, so I think from progression from Dual Sides to Nil, I think the biggest lesson is naivety, and that's kind of cool. I mean, when you're doing something for the first time, you put out a record or whatnot, you don't know, you've got no fucking clue. So you roll with that, you roll with it, and on the second one, you got a bit more. You know what you're getting yourself in for a bit more. In terms of how we do it DIY, you know what I mean. So I think in that aspect, there's a bit of maturity more to the current album, Nil. There's still a lot of raw emotion and things like this. In terms of what I've learned from doing Nil, and now it's out. To me, it's a big relief. It's something I've been working on for a very long time, and
get that shit off your chest.
And it's nice just to finally let that shit go.
Let it be free, mate. Let it be free. It's not mine anymore. It's yours.
It no longer feels like it's my weight, such, although it's metaphorically speaking. But what I've learned is via putting it out, maybe beforehand, is that songs are fucking spells, man. Songs hold so much within themselves. It's a document of a specific moment when you're fucking writing it and putting it down. But it comes back to you and it's constantly changing its meaning. And it will always be doing that, depending on the ear that is listening. So, with that regard, it makes me think about what I should write a lot more, So, there's things on there that I'm happy to finally have out in the public, But there's things that, like I say, it's we're all casting our art. We all cast that art into the public, and that it's a living entity. Once you let go of it, it's its own entity, and it lives in its own realm. So, to the ear that's listening, it is theirs, and it becomes theirs, and it should be theirs. Likewise, when I listen to songs from artists and it hits a chord with me, that's fucking mine, man. You know what I mean? It's resonating with him. There's a personal connection. So yeah, that's what I've learned from doing it, is to think about these songs that you put out a bit more. Yeah. I don't know about you, Dan.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Well, this kind of relates to something else that I think again was something that's and I'm fascinated to know how your if it's been the process of taking this out live, because it's something I was just, I've had many conversations this week with. I mean, dude, I'm quite happy to say this, man. When the Rose, there's not many songs in this world that get the hair stand up on the back of my neck, and the Rose, my friend, is so powerful. But even again, like today, when I was listening to it again, doesn't matter how many times I've heard it, and I've had it's been playing around my life for a while. It's still all the time. It's just there. It's almost like I said. It's weaved into my being as a person. So my thought process on this and the really kind of what I've been contemplating was like, okay, so the fact you managed to cut that and put that onto a studio, that's one thing. How do you take that out live, man? Do you ever sort of think when you are going out live, like, I can't, that's gonna be one of those songs that I can't play every time I go out because I almost don't want it to be diluted, or I mean, do you have to do you have to almost get yourself in a frame of mind? Because this is the difficulty. I kind of imagine that you'll get up and you'll play that song, and then you've got to get yourself into a frame of mind. Or that's what I'm saying. This is the question to you, or is that almost like a, for want of a better word, like when the New Zealand team play the rugby and they do the Maori dance? Is that your kind of almost like your mantra, is just to get yourself into a state of mind before you do this Demons Gift, because it's such a powerful track. And my question is, must be something you've contemplated how you're going to go with that and put that out across live, because with the power that you put across on the album, to almost like if I was in the audience and if I didn't see it done in a powerful way, which I've been to bands and I've seen this plow out songs, like, it's like, oh, come on, man, that means so much to me. And to hear you almost karaoke pub singing it is a disgrace to me as an audience. And I feel like walking out and ripping up the ticket. So that must have something you, from the creative point, from a band point of view, you must sort of thought about. And again, I'd love to hear your thoughts, because it's particularly that track, The Rose.
And first, really thank you for those compliments on that track. I mean, it's some songs just write themselves. So, like, I feel a bit like I'm not doing any justice in saying that I wrote that, because I feel like I didn't. It wrote itself. You know what I mean? It's a spirit that fucking possesses to put that shit down. Very simple chords, very simple. And what I tried to conjure from it was just feeling, man, just feeling. And so at the time, there was I wrote it after we lost a friend, Paul. So he used to like fly the flag for Yorkshire, man. He used to fly the fucking white rose of Yorkshire. So that, to me, that's the essence of that song. Although maybe there's aspects of it that are kind of personal or whatnot, but it wrote itself, and that's why I like to see it. And I don't know.
In terms of doing it live, we haven't debuted that one live yet.
Yeah, we haven't
but
played it live.
we will be in Durham at our next gig. It's a track that we'd like to play live, and we do want to keep it very sparse. We just want to keep it aside the guitar, and I might do a little bit of harmony, but like, essentially just keep it stripped down, because it's that rawness, that bareness. That's
the shit which resonates with us. Like when we listen to a song like this and whatnot, we listen to Leonard Cohen and Nick Cave or whatever,
Bill Callahan,
and you can hear a vulnerability. I suppose
Johnny Cash.
We kind of try to like take those sort of aspects away and put it into the sort of hip hop that we do. I mean, it's quite we just do what we do. We do what we feel we should be doing in a way, and everybody should do that as well.
Do what's right for you, essentially.
Yeah, just doing what makes your heart sing.
Yeah,
and that kind of made our hearts.
But yeah, I mean, the Rose, like I say, I think we've played it a couple of times in practice, and I think it's important to keep it quite sparse, because that's how it should be. I mean, obviously, you want every track to sound like you the live thing and the recording are two different things. So you need to give the song different life in a live scenario to like the recording of it. You can hear it's in the middle of so the studio we're using in the middle of the Yorkshire Dales, Greenman Swaler in Swaledale near Reef. You know, we recorded the majority of the album over the winter period this year, 2016, last year, I tell a lie, last year, that's what I'm talking about. But, so we all got into the studio and then spent a week recording, and that song, you know, it was just silent guitar, it's winter, it's fucking freezing, man. We've got the fire on, and we want to capture that. We want to, so you can hear bits of the fire just spitting on and crackling on, and
every smell.
That's part of it. Looking forward to incorporating that one into the live set at Durham. We'll also be we've got a couple of BBC introducing sessions lined up. Well, we have one on Saturday. We're going into BBC Tees in Middlesbrough. We're talking to Bob Fisher on Saturday night. I think Si's going to bring his guitar in for that one, so we're going to play that live in the studio.
I might play that one.
We'll see. But and we've also been contacted by Jericho Keys, who works for BBC York and North Yorkshire. And it's 10 years celebrating the start of BBC Introducing, which is a great platform for emerging artists within the UK. And he's doing a feature for the North Yorkshire region, where he's travelling around about 12 different towns within North Yorkshire and talking to a band from each town and doing a song with them. And he's meeting us outside Richmond Castle at 6 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday next week.
Yeah,
Wednesday next
6 days, man. I'm not looking forward to it, man.
6 o'clock in the morning outside Richmond Castle. I'm gonna bring down a cup of Mad tea. Si's gonna bring his guitar. And we're gonna try and do a version of the Rose live on the air.
I can't guarantee I'll have any sleep.
It's true.
We'll see how it
goes. But so hopefully we'll play that track a couple of times on the radio. But the first gig we're going to try to do it live is at the Win Big launch in Durham on this Friday, the 6th of October. So yeah, looking forward to that.
It's a long-winded answer, but
it is, isn't it? Just
I hope we ticked all the boxes there.
Well, dude, I was about to mention that the 6 o'clock in the morning one is either when we were in the creative hour or because it's a perfect. So I think it's a perfect time, and I think it's a great time to do it because we can all be very creative that time in the morning, man. But
morning dew start coming on the grass, man. We'll be that. That's the essence. We'll be trying to.
Exactly.
It'll be misty as well. Yeah, set the scene.
Hoping for some fog. Yeah.
Well, man, you briefly touched upon it there, and then we've sort of mentioned it. So you got the London last night. You mentioned about you've got that other sort of gig up in planning in London, and you've obviously got the Wing Big launch in Durham, and you mentioned the Scotland gig. So give sort of breakdown because you're doing quite an extensive sort of tour. You know what I mean? For instance, 2 dates in Scotland, I know, which I've been given the put the call out to all the Scottish demons out there. So you're kind of like doing the length and the breadth. And is the sort of plan to sort of like continue this on, or have you it's going to be a full stop after it, or is it what's the sort of plans?
Well, the gigs will sort of we've got quite a heavy period of gigs at the moment where we're doing this tour, but after the next London one in Camden, we've got almost 2 weeks sort of gap where then we're going to play a little festival in Stockton. After that, we have other things. It's sort of bubbling up. Nothing to write home about at the minute, but we're open to more shows, and we're looking to prolong the life of the album, so we'll probably look to drop some videos before too long, and just to kick the embers and try and get a few more flames burning.
I think also that so we've been trying to get these sort of live dates sort of aligned with the release. So it's been a lot of planning behind the scenes. Like, you don't always see the work behind the scenes, but there's always a lot of work behind the scenes, man. So yeah,
Well,
getting these sort of shows in place, man, like and integrity was to line it up with the release, to time with the release. So yeah, we can't wait to play.
well,
We've not played before. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, man. I have to mention because I had a couple of people, kind of. I know went to the gig, but you just mentioned then about timing and stuff like that. Well, tell me about the Leeds gig because that was obviously time with the obviously the Freshers Week and stuff like that. So I mean, again, I'm a bit kind of. It's been a few years since I've done a Freshers Week, man. So tell us that experience, man, because that would have been a whole different kind of genre to the people that usually kind of go to the Demons gig.
Yeah, like the Leeds gig, yeah, really good. I mean. I feel it could have been perhaps a bit more packed out. Maybe it wasn't loads and loads of people. The people there, like wonderful people, hearts of gold, and it was put on through Come Play With Me, who promoted it, who we put out a single Lost Away with last year. I sent a copy for Christmas. I've got good guys, really good guys. So Tony the guy who runs the label, used to be the Northern ambassador for Calm. Which is how we sort of linked up. We were doing stuff for Calm, and he heard us that way. So we've been in touch, and then he made this little label, put out a single, and he's continuing to support emerging bands within the Leeds City region and beyond.
Which we're very supportive of.
Big time. And like, yeah, so the gig was good, man, and like it was at a venue called Hyde Park Book Club. Now that's a new one. For us, because like we've not lived in Leeds for a few years, it would probably be a new one for you, Tim. Like, I don't think you've been here before, but it's very cool. It's opposite the Hyde Park pub, just on Hyde Park Corner. So it's in a very student part of the city, man, and it was a beautiful little venue. It's very like there's a sense. Intimate. There's a really it's intimate, and there's a really nice sense of community within the venue, and they don't just do music and gigs, they do all sorts of stuff, whether it's chess nights or like book nights and art exhibitions, all sorts of stuff. It's a really good creative hub. So we felt very welcome there, man, and it was a great venue. Had some friends come down to it, which was brilliant as always, man, and like some of the support acts were great. There's this last playing who's called No Fixed Identity. And we were really impressed with her. I could hear. I spoke to her for quite a while. She was influenced quite heavily by Amy Winehouse and like Nas and like some really brilliant artists. But I got a sense it's quite similar to like sort of Kate Tempest, very emotive spoken word sort of poetry, like rapping. But it's sort of like, but the emotion was there. And like it's felt something which is quite akin to what we do. And she had a projector which sort of officially mapped out the whole sort of story of her piece, and she wasn't necessarily doing like song after song like perhaps what we do. She like her whole performance was like a concept, like a concept piece. It was very entertaining. Yeah, so she was really good. So No Fixed Identity. It's worth having a look into, Tim.
It's good. It was a good gig.
We love you, Leeds. We do.
We do.
I know we always slightly do it like on the podcast, but like Leeds United, I know they lost against Cardiff, but they're doing fucking well at the minute, mate. They're doing well at the minute. I hope they get promoted this season. I've got a feeling this is the year. I've got a feeling.
Well, dude, I'm not even going to mention that because obviously, dude, as you know, I mean, obviously after Newcastle Brighton this weekend, I was hoping to sort of say the same to you, dude. But
yeah, I wish, mate. Honestly, we were fourth last week, mate. I was happy as Larry.
But no, man. But I mean, just to sort of wrap all that up about the tour and stuff like that. I mean, obviously you can find the tour dates just by following your social media and stuff like this. And again, I look forward to when you come up here in Scotland, man. I mean, I think it's been a long time coming, man, because I've been as I say, it's been a long time coming. Well, while we're in this conversation and while we're talking about this, let's open this up to. So for people, for you two, this is it's kind of strange to me. Lee, this is Cy and Dan, and Dan, this is Lee. So without any further, I mean, I'll hand this over to you. How you doing tonight, Lee?
Hello, Lee. How are you doing, mate?
Can you hear us, Lee? No. Never mind. No, never mind. So no, just I mean, on just a couple of things. I mean, I will. I'm gonna finish with. Which is the other thing I sort of mentioned around Neil. I'm gonna finish when we'll wrap this up later on. I'm gonna finish Chasing Dreams and Nightmares. Now, again, that track obviously, you people will know why I'm gonna love that track, but. That plays into something else I was going to sort of talk to you about, because I've witnessed that track has changed names and everything like that. So again, with a lot of the elements of the album, I know we sort of mentioned about how to put it, how you were fitting together as a Tetris. Because it wasn't obviously even for me. I didn't realize you changed the name of it into Chasing the name of it quite late. So was that quite common with a lot of the tracks? And is that quite common with that you found before, that you changed the names of the actual tracks quite late on?
Definitely, mate. I mean, we get demos. So if George sends us a beat, he'll call it something, right? And we'll run with that for so long. But when it comes up to release, we feel that renaming certain songs is a lot more beneficial.
It's just us to the song, like so.
Yeah, it justifies the track more. And
the song needs a title that we need to pick, and sometimes it comes via lyrics and whatnot. Like in this case, it did come via a lyric. Sometimes it doesn't. Like Elegy and Nil, that's not even spoken. That was titled after that, but it felt fitting, Yeah, it's interesting how it comes.
Track names, it's an interesting, but yeah, Chasing Dreams and Nightmares, man. I mean, that's a lot of the songs have been written for quite a while. Like the words have been written for quite a while. The music's sort of been there as well, basically, and that was one where. I don't know. I remember writing that one, and particularly the chorus, and it was when this podcast had started. We'd sent you the track "Life as People," and it's just a great phrase, and it's a great song, and I love when it writing, but subtly paying homage to other things. So, "Life as People." I'm touching on the Bill Fray song, and I love to reference other tracks and musicians that I admire and I love within my own creativity, my own writing. So that's one that I reference to that, but I also love cross-referencing shit. So when you get dual meanings, so I'm referencing Bill Fray, but I'm also referencing this podcast here. Do you know what I mean? And it's like that in Capture Karma. The chorus "Capture Karma, Karma Coma." There's a song by Massive Attack called "Karma Coma." But Tricky is a big influence. He just released an album on the same day that we did, and it's brilliant. But Tricky is very much an artist, man. Like his music is fucking fantastic, and he's a very brilliant lyricist. But he works with a lot of different singers and does a lot of collaboration and that. But Karma Coma is a track that I found very drawn to, and I didn't get into Tricky Massive Attack until maybe the early mid 2000s, really. So maybe I was a bit young at the time when they were releasing it, but it's something that I did find eventually, and
good music should do that, man. It should just be off a year.
Music. Good art should be timeless, and when I found that, and then getting into all of his catalogue, really into it, really love it, man. So for that track, Capture Karma, I like just referencing Karma Coma, man. It's a good fucking song, and like the
good phrase.
But also like I'm talking about the dual meanings within words and within phrases. I love fucking drawing in all these things. So Karma Coma, you Google that shit, or you look it up, you do your research. You know, Karma Coma is a strain of ganja, and like fucking, it's something that like we like. There's so many fucking like hip hop artists or like other bands or whatever. You know, they'll reference like weed, and like that's cool. Like, but like something that we've only ever done subtly. Do you know what I mean? And like that's a subtle reference. They're one of few that you'll find within our music.
Well, Lee, can you hear us? Great Britain calling Colorado. Can you hear us, Colorado?
Yeah, we have issues. Google software.
Hello, Lee. Hello, Holly.
Hello.
How are you?
Hello from Yorkshire. Hello from Scotland. We okay?
We've been listening to a lot of your music.
Martha's, thank you.
Flashes.
Thank you very much.
It's great. Great to meet you.
Well, when we program it into the page, we have to listen to it over and over again.
Yeah.
Sounds like Tim's good work there, man.
God save you all. No, it's plus.
Lovely
really
to meet you, Bill.
It's very well to meet you.
Same here, definitely. Very nice to. And we've been listening. It's been great to listen to you guys talk with Tim on the 300th episode, and Tim has nothing but great things to say. You guys have been there from the start with him, very first of it. So this is great.
Oh,
it's a great thing.
That's really lovely. Yeah,
Bless
like
you.
let's celebrate 3 years of Live as People.
Exactly, man. Like, yeah, no, it's something that we've tried to support Tim with this project from the start. Like you say, you know, it's great. It's a momentous occasion to reach the 3-year anniversary and the 300th episode, man.
Testament to you, mate. Testament to you.
No, mate, I think beyond all that, and I mean this in a real way, that beyond anything else as we've been talking about, and I think we were mentioning earlier in the discussion, it's all about people. This is all about joining people and connections and building stuff. And to be fair to, I mean, this is one of the things that I'm going to sort of hold myself back being quite emotional, because as you know, as we started this conversation tonight, lads, you know, we started this maybe 3 years ago talking about what we maybe envisaged, and thanks to the two people on our screen right now, and I can never speak highly enough about, they've just beyond belief made a vision actually come through in reality, and this is, you know, I'm going to hand it over to them, because I can't say personally thank you enough, and I think the process you're saying about is all of us together, because there's no one single cog in all this. It's all about us together, and in that very element we were talking about there, we started off saying at the beginning of this, Dan, it's all about us putting our own effort and our own will into something and manifesting, like you said, our intent. And this is why this is, you know, more than the how many years we've been doing it or how many numbers, doesn't mean matter. The biggest thing to me, and this is why it's almost like the start of a dream coming true, and you mentioned about creating an album, is when I can sort of, you know, like I say, when I can turn over to Lee and Holly and say, wow, 3 years ago we had nothing, and now thanks to these two great people and a lot of hard work and a lot of hard effort nobody sees, we can start to sow the seeds to something that we've all, and that was the point of it, try to envisage what we all want, and that's the whole point of this, to sort of build a new paradigm. So that's all I kind of want to say. And without that, I want to hand this over to Holly and Lee, because I kind of feel dead excited, and I've been waiting for this kind of for days. So over to you two great people to announce. Tell us more.
You want to say something?
Okay, I guess I'll be the one to announce that. What we were talking about was the announcement that has to do with the Network 99 platform that is online, and we are starting to accept members, subscribers, and we're starting to build a population of people who are getting together, talking, figuring out the cool features that are available there, listening to some really great music, and yeah, there are a lot of really cool things that you can go on there and do right now. And of course, it's a work in progress, but we're at a point right now where there are a lot of cool things that you can use this network for, and connect with people, and even begin to get your name on the platform if you want to look at it that way, to utilize it as a platform for yourself as well, for all of us. So, but it's
No, I was just saying we were quickly discussing before, and I think this is the very minute. I think it's always very good to say that we were talking before we went live, and I was saying that the point of where we are right now is that, like you just said, Holly, it's that first opening up. And I think I want to sort of just quickly interject and say this. The whole point of having a test network is that we hear every opinion and be completely honest. That's the whole point of this, because I can assure you from everybody who knows all of us, there's no ego in all this. All we want to do is build the best platform. So, and I know particularly from my experience of working and collaborating with Lee and Holly, that they're very much open to suggestions and ideas, and so that's the whole point of it. The test network, and I think that's just the element we're into now, is that please, we're it's the very beginning of this process, but we're open to having any kind of feedback at all, and I think that's really the element of what, as we've always said, it's about building stuff together. So yeah, I mean, on that note, Holly and Lee, I mean, what's going to be the process for people who maybe want to listen to this and they want to sort of subscribe? What will be the process?
Well, I guess it's just like any other website, Minds or Gab or Facebook. You just go and sign up and enter an email. So the username that you have will be the only username that you can have. You won't be able to change that. So, and make it a good one. And right now, all the names are untaken. So it'll be cool. You'll be able to go in and pick the name you want, and they won't cut feedback and say that one's already taken. So for a while at least, anyway. And so it's a good time to go sign up a page. And one of the things I'd like to do this month is to make it so that we don't have to come to Google Hangouts anymore. So you can just create your own channel on the network and be able to do your podcast there. That'll be the hope. And actually, that's pretty doable. It's just a matter of turning things on and writing a little bit of script. So, the rest of the website, it's you go in, you fill out your profile, and we've got it set so that you can have merits on the network. And it's the order of merit is the only one that we've worked on is the Alera, which is basically you fill out your profile and you do all the basic functions like add a photo, add an avatar photo and a cover photo for your page, and comment, make a first comment on somebody's post, like somebody's post. So those are the things that you need to do for that first merit, and then that would be the reward for that is a seed token, and you have the ability to spend it. But you can save it, and eventually that will be something that's transferable, I believe, towards the seed. So those are some of the cool things that are happening.
Well, yeah, I mean, just on a quick one, and I'll just give you a personal reflection. And I've had the fortune to play around with it, but today, again, I'll be very honest with it. The ability to put up, I was talking to someone, but the ability to put up 5 photos and something else these are the little incremental ones. I mean, I was like going to Twitter, and I can only I'm limited to 4 photos, and then X amount of. We don't have that, so these are the little things that I thought. Oh, these are the small incremental changes that I think are going to be, along the way. And as I said before, I don't care, man. I'm okay to say this. If nothing else, we've been inspired, and by some of the greatest bands and musicians around. And I've always been happy to say that, that as I said, I've tipped the nod to it, man. In as a network, I think we've tipped the nod to it with N99 Radio. And the first track you're going to see on that is these 2 gentlemen in the conversation. So yeah, they've served, as I've always said, and I try to hashtag it quite a few times. Music inspires art, and I think music inspires creation. And I think it's something that we're all. many creative people have, and I think it's we have it. The creativity can be shared in many different ways. You know, well, I think it's something that Danny, you alluded to it earlier on. It doesn't just form up in poetry or writing or music; it can form up in new ways. And the one thing I've from reflection of speaking to 300 people odd times on this podcast is that they're all very similar, and that's been my one dream with N99. If it ever goes forward, that'd be beyond, you know, if anything else, we can just have that one place where we, like Holly quite rightly said, we can just network and we can just chat to someone without that alone. Because trust me, I've said this many times that I've sat here for many times and sat and thought, if we could just get 10% of the people I speak to on Life is People on the same place, we could literally shift the world. And I really believe that. But at the moment, we're all spread around, you know, different platforms and places like that. So if nothing else, these are the first steps towards hopefully kind of, you know, sort of forming our own community where we can, you know, sort of shape what we want to do, not have any middlemen, as we've always said, as you said right back in the day one. So that's my thoughts on it.
Exactly, Tim. No, like I think it's great, mate. I mean, you know, the concept is so very strong, and it's just, you know, uniting creatives, or like essentially you're appealing to creatives, and it offers such a brilliant helping hand and a platform for creatives, man. And like, you know, the concept is so solid, and it's just it's phenomenal to see it, you know, come to fruition. And like, you know, yeah, it's in its early stages and stuff, but like, you know, it could only kick on from there, man. Like, do you know what I mean? Like creativity, that's what we were talking about earlier on. I think, you know, creation, like, even if you're making stuff which is quite dark or whatever, like, if you're creating something, you have, whether you admit it or you don't, creation is basically making hope. So making something like this is offering a glimmer of hope, and hope is what keeps us all going from day to day, my man. So, yeah, looking forward to dabbling into the network, my man. I tell you that, yeah. Digging into the rabbit hole and seeing how far it can go, man.
Well, I don't want to speak for anyone else, but we're more than willing, looking forward to people doing that, because I think, and again, and I have to, it's something again you've again, Dan, you nailed it when you put out that tweet. You know, it's the very element where we are right now. This is a moment you give away to people, and what happens from now onwards is exactly that. And that's going to be like you said about any creative point. There's a moments when you create it and you're in the process of creating it, and then it's like this really, personally for me, exciting to say, oh, we're just tantalizing, just giving it to little people. And then it's like you said, it's like it's the theme of all this conversation unites us all. With any creative product, whether I'm doing a painting or whether you're doing the album, or whether Lee and Holly are building any of their projects, or it's the element of once you give it away, then it's like you said, it's under other people, and then it's just word of mouth, and that's all it's always been, dude. It's word of mouth, and that's where it's going to be fascinating to go on to. And look, before I do wrap this up, because I know you two particularly have had a really long day and traveling and stuff like this, I have to sort of give them a shout, and I think it relates to all this as well, and I think it relates to us, dude. I think that to win big and people like this, and Louder and War and stuff like this, because that's the other element of all this creation. It's the people who create, and then there's the people who review, and the people who do the spreading of the word, and they're as important to this whole yin yang to this whole element. And I think they really at times need a good shout out and a good say, hey, we, as much as there's people who create stuff, there's a good shout out to all the people, the reviewers, the critics, the people like that. And that's something that, again, please, as well, again, word of mouth, man, because that's exactly what we want on N99. That's exactly what we were driven by, the whole idea of getting both, uniting both elements, and that's, you know, getting them both together. So I just want to give a great shout out to Win Big Records, man, because I think they've done a great package on your the new album and everything around it. So
big up to all, big up to all the independent people, promoters, or anyone within whatever field you're in.
All artists doing what they love, what makes their hearts sing, DIY.
But it's the people which give the art a platform, which Tim's alluding to there. That you know, there's sometimes that these are the unspoken heroes. And it's you have to dig. You're very right into giving these heroes, these hidden heroes. Shout out, man.
There's treasure out there, man, everywhere. We just have to dig for it and find it, man. And maybe like with this platform, there's it gives this treasure so you don't have to dig for it no more. You know what I mean? It's, gives it a bit more light. Gives it a bit more light.
Yeah.
So there's a big discussion going around the internet about freedom of expression and content being pulled down, or networks needing to police their people for content. And a lot of it has to do with algorithms, like Facebook creates algorithms to censor people, and Minds is sort of a little bit freer than that, but they still have a algorithm that is tied into their boost system. And so that's like the big talk about, freedom, censorship, and what nobody really talks about is if that's really the thing that's censoring us, then how come we can go to these networks that are supposedly free and still it's a ghost town, and still you can't directly talk to people immediately?
Yeah.
Now, isn't this the internet? Like, wasn't that the main vision of the internet, so that we can talk to someone on the other side of the planet, find out who they are, search them somehow, and then immediately be involved with them, and connect to them? And there's still this gigantic barrier. And the more I research other networks and look at them and use them just to sort of as an experimental, what do they do? I find more and more, it's not just the algorithms, the searchability algorithms. When you type somebody's name into a computer, for instance, Facebook only gives you the document or the people that you might be connected to or might be around you. It doesn't give you all of the John Smiths in the world.
Yeah.
It gives the John Smiths to you that they think that you need to know or might have a connection to.
Right.
And so there's a gigantic censorship connection there. I can't go just find some random John Smith and have a conversation and let the universe decide whether or not we have a connection, not Facebook.
Well, that's it. Essentially, we are all, kind of caged, really. Like you say, the concept of the internet, it should be given freedom.
One of liberation,
yeah. But you go on the internet on whatever normal, the everyday browser. You're getting cookies, you're getting all your data, you're getting tracked, you're getting fed and marketed things specifically for you. If you've been on a website and looked at on Amazon at like a speaker, you go on your Facebook and it's advertised at the side, that sort of thing, man. Like you just got to question
intrusive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's intrusive, man. Like question everything. But if you know what I mean.
Well, there's another aspect of freedom that is being curtailed that a lot of people don't think about ever, and what that is accessibility to tools. Now, a programmer has a whole array of tools that they can use to do things and to make things happen and to make functions happen, but they never use these tools in the way that would make it so that users could do whatever they want. And it's always, there's this concept, there's this idea of what this function is going to be for, and then you're supposed to function and create and whatever within those parameters, I guess. But it becomes obvious to me that there's all kinds of things that you can do, that you can open up things for people that they never considered before, and how that actually interacts with the ability to connect with others that they otherwise wouldn't have been able to connect with.
Right, okay. So essentially we're just being suppressed from the true abilities which are at our fingertips almost.
Exactly. I mean, for one, you go to any website that's supposedly free speech and freedom of information and so on and so forth. It's basically just everybody's channel streaming in a stream, and then some places deal with how you get to see that stream differently. Like Minds.com,
yeah.
You earn points, and then you can boost your content so that more people see it.
That's it, yeah.
But then Minds charges $5 so that you can buy a monthly subscription to get rid of the boosts. So then, you know, it's pointless to those people that are spending their money. They can never reach you ever because you just spend $5 a month to get rid of all those boosts. So which aren't the same as advertisements because it's just people trying to push their content, right? That's different than a corporation trying to sell you their product, I guess. But it kind of ties into the concept that there will be people that are doing grassroots type stuff, you know, like cottage industry products where they might want to use the boost system to push their products. But it's a cottage industry. That's a lot different than a big giant corporation. Although it's similar, you know, because what happens in that cottage industry becomes popular and it's everywhere. It becomes a multinational corporation. But so the main thing is that we need to have filters. Filters, really. You just filter what you want to see. You know, you go into the world and then you, as the person that's trying to push your content, you put it in the appropriate area, and it's like a library. It's the simplest thing in the universe. Like, you just make a place where people can search, and it's universal. It's a universal search. So if you're looking for dragons, you type in dragons, and you get to see all the people that create art around dragons and, you know, all the mythology and so on and so forth, and you see all that information. You know, what's wrong with the people of the internet that's creating it, where you have to weed through everything in order to get to this one very simple thing? I'm searching for dragons, goddammit, and I would really love to have some information on them, right? But on the other note, maybe I don't want to ever see dragons on my screen, ever. And then I have a filter that says, no dragons, ever. And that's that.
There's something,
you know,
though,
it's really very simple.
I feel, I'm sorry, Tim, like in the pursuit of like finding something, it's like a treasure hunt. Do you know what I mean? So the example of dragons and like, you know, you might search something and the one that you're trying to look for isn't coming up, but you keep digging and you find that on your own will, and that's a very satisfying sort of thing.
Yeah, but what you're doing is you want
it straight up,
chase, don't you? Like,
you do indeed. Like, yeah, totally hear you, man. Totally hear.
So what we have had in mind for this network from the very beginning, I think, is that we want tools that we want to be able to bring forward to anyone, any creator, or anyone who's a patron of any sort of creation or art. Bring those tools forward so that everyone knows how to use them. It's easy for them to use them. It's easy for people to make very direct connections. And like Lee mentioned, we're really just able to filter ourselves. You know, there will be different places on this network for different types of content, but where we get the most ability to sort of filter for ourselves is on the main, you know, activity, the main part of the community, and then all of the features aside, we can filter those as well for ourselves. But there's not really going to be any sort of basis for the network doing that for you, per se. You know, it's in its early stages. We'll see how everyone interacts with it, but I think it's intrinsically in people's nature, once they know that they have a network that isn't putting filters on them to begin with, and it's just a free sort of connection, a place where they know that they have the ability to connect with other people and not be told how to do it, that everyone all of a sudden just treats it like a community and acts like a community member, at least to a high degree, a high enough degree that, you know, there's always a few bad actors here and there, but for the most part, I think the community will be really self-driven.
There can be a lot of, you know, creation on the user's part. Like, one of the things about MySpace, the failure of MySpace was there was too many options. But what if you could create something really simple like Facebook, but make it, say you're using it for a year and you decide, well, I'd like to do this specific thing. And I could go to a category of you know, like just a place, a video library that tells me how to do other things. Say I'm a guitarist and I want to learn how to market myself. And I have this network that can help me market myself by teaching me how to use tools. And then the thing about tools is that a tool is just a tool, like it's a hammer. Its purpose is to drive nails, but obviously you can use a hammer for other purposes, including clubbing someone, I guess. But you decide, right? There's no rules set on the hammer. There's not like this gateway that says if you don't use it for nails, then you can't use it. You know, you might decide there's a good, maybe it's a good digging implement. You know, I don't know.
So it lets people be creative to how they use these tools then.
Right. You know, and it's just a matter of showing people, hey, you can do these kinds of things. And then it's sort of up to you to get creative with the tools themselves, because really that's how we create art anyway, right? We have, if we're going to create great music, we need tools, we need instruments, and we need electricity, and you know, all this stuff. Yeah. And when we put it together, it's unique in our way. Like that's the whole point of art, right? Like it's how I thought of putting it together, rather than someone else before me giving me this set of stuff before I get a chance to decide how I'd like to put it together. And so maybe we can create a network where it's sort of like, okay, here it is. We've designed it like this, but you can change it how you want to change it, essentially. And you can use it how you want to use it. If you're a grandma that's, you know, that writes recipes, you know, and you want to share that to all your friends, you know, maybe that's the kind of thing that you can do on our website. Yeah, man. Maybe it's not, you know, it's not just for specific kinds of artists, you know, like Tim keeps saying, of creative people. And how do we make it that way? Well, it's simple. We just give a tool that is pretty common. It looks common. It looks like every other thing out there that's people are used to. You know, the same kind of buttons, same kind of concepts. You have a message. You have a stream. You know, you have a blog area where you can do stuff. You have a channel that you can charge people for, so you can have guitar lessons, and then put it on your channel, and you can have a few videos or whatever for free. And then if people like your stuff, they pay your subscription costs, and then you get money or whatever. You know, that's the concept of N99. It's about people being able to utilize the same tools that are all over the internet, but not really on the internet. I mean, it's sort of like it's like a fake thing. Like even all these capabilities of a tool like Second Life, where you can create this avatar and go talk to people. But really, are you really connecting to that person? I mean, yeah, that's it. Really? I mean, you go on there and maybe you have to spend 5 months before you meet 10 people that trust you in their little network somewhere, you know? And I don't have patience for a lot of that. Like, I just want to go to a network and I want to immediately talk to people. First of all, like, I was really impressed with how chats work on a crypto exchange, for instance, because people are there and they're all talking about cryptography and coins, and, you know, Bitcoins and whatnot. Yeah. But you can go there and immediately just ask a question, and some other person is there and they have an answer. It might not be the right answer. You have to use your, you know, your skills in determining bullshit. But but it's nevertheless, you get a chance to meet people organically, and that's the thing. No network is like that. Facebook's not like that. You know, no network I can think of. And then if you do have that tool, like Polynex used to, they took it off. But when you do have that tool, it has to be moderated, you know, and there has to be rules and stuff, because anarchy doesn't work, and people, you know. So maybe you have a public chat that is moderated, and then you have the ability to create your own chat where you don't moderate it, or moderate how you want. You know, do whatever you want, because that's really what the internet should be about. It should be about doing whatever you want, as long as it doesn't violate the principle of harming someone else. I don't see anything wrong with it. You know.
Same here, man. Yeah. Same here. Like, fucking right on.
Well, man, like I say, dude, I kind of very aware that you two have had a very long day. So like I said before, I'm going to wrap this up with Chasing Dreams and Nightmares. And while I am queuing this up and stuff like this, just a couple of things. Over to you and Holly again. Thank you very much for giving me the time this afternoon to come along. This has been a great honour. I don't know whether it's a bit of a question to the open ether, but do you want to give people where they can go and sign in, or is that something we're going to do by personal invite? I know this is all very much in the open right now, but
come to. Well, we don't have anything to put across the screen, do we?
No, but you can just say it, n99online.net. And actually, yeah, just come find the website, and it's as simple as that. And
sign up
and
bring a friend so you can talk to somebody, because it's a pretty lonely place right now. 23 users.
Yeah, it's still a little bit lonely. So yes, just come join and come sign up and play with us. And thank you very much for what you had to say, Tim. And Simon, congratulations on your new album. We've been listening to it. It's absolutely great. And thank you. This was the 300th episode. Tim started with you, but you shared some time with us here as well, and we're very grateful for that. So it's awesome to meet you guys, and thank you, Tim, very much.
Nice to meet you too.
Thank you very much. Big love. Lovely to meet you both, like Lee and Holly. Like, we will definitely be digging into the N99 rabbit hole, and we'll see how far we can get into it. But yeah, we'll get on signing up. We want to be in the first 99, obviously. Like, so we'll get on it as soon as possible. But lovely to meet you both, and thank you very much for listening to some of the music as well.
Yeah, keep slaying.
Yeah. Keep slaying.
Keep slaying.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you so much, Tim, for having us on, mate. Always appreciate it, mate. And we'll see you in Scotland soon, mate.
Rattle through the cages, amazed with this long lost sense of purpose, speechless. These words ring deep within the countryside. To the man on the street, city life married with rural roots, dug deep into your bloodline. As the scallywag's golden teeth shines when he speaks the truth. Whether you're the working class or blessed with a silver spoon, the same rules apply to you in this game of gratitude. As life is proceed through your eyes, diluted with so much emotion, filtered through your sensations, driven by your interactions and intentions, caught in a net of compassion. This equation creates manifestations that are living and breathing. Now what is real to you? They say that life is people, and that people are angels, and the angels are there for you. They say that life is people, and that people are angels, and the angels are devils, and the devils are me and you. They say that life is people, and that people are angels, and the angels are devils, and the devils are there for you. Fear fills the depths that stress, visions of failure, thoughts of death. It's a twisted train wreck, the crash, the pattern, the sound to express. Like the coward devoured by the towers of fear. I'm afraid, and I escape, and I create, and I relate. I feel the weight, and now I wait. Northbound, dumbbound, floating through space, reaching for my antidepressant, but I feel just delayed, accepted mistakes, but these lessons will play until suppression and hate, while you're jealous, waiting once again, chasing dreams in nightmares, will our demons just fight uncontrollable despair, bad ideas and blank stare, impressions that race hate, in public you act scared, unprepared for their glares. They say that life is people, and that people are angels, and the angels are devils, and the devils are me and you.